We're happy. We're very committed. This is my spiritual purpose, is to help people suffer less between their ears and suffer less on the job.
For millennials, and it's a challenge for them to find jobs, find good career opportunities. How do they? What should they do? I mean, the job market is bleak. What should they look for? And then what do you tell employers about how to promote their opportunities and to reach out to the best people for the job?
Well, I think that there is heaps of untapped talent out there, and if I was to give the millennials any strong suggestions at this point in time, it would be analyze what your values are. Find out what you are deeply and truly passionate about, and align your career choices to your passion. Number one is I would begin first with doing what I would call an extended DISC behavioral profiling model, which shows you, it's an assessment tool. It's the most researched behavioral profiling tool on the planet. It dates all the way back to Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine. So it's very highly respected for its accuracy. And what it does is it shows you where you would exert the least amount of effort to do the job that you would most love doing. It's not that we can't do a variety of different types of workloads and different types of disciplines, but it's where you're going to exert the least amount of effort so that it's easy for you, it's somewhat stress-free, and that it's right in alignment with what we call the person's natural flow. I could speak for a very long time on this, but I just want to create a give-and-take conversation here. But I will say there's 4 different styles. It's a D style is a driver. They dominate. They take projects. They move it forward. They like a lot of change. An I is more of a networking type of individual who can sell snow to an Eskimo if they believe in the product. An S is more security-based, and what they do is they comply into a small team, and they will bring order to chaos. A C is about compliance, which is our more technical type of individual who will be much more tech-savvy, much more detail-oriented, and can do technical jobs very eloquently. So that's sort of a very brief description. We're generally 1 or 2 aspects of the DISC, and it's very important to know that from the perspective of you can think of a job that you think, oh, well, that pays well, but it may take a heap of your effort to actually do that job and do it well, and eventually you end up being quite resentful of it because it's not in your natural flow.
I agree with what you said in the outset. You've got to find... The old adage is find a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life. That's the old adage, and that's most easily sums up what I understand you're saying. But I learned a very important lesson. After I graduated college, I spent 11 months unemployed looking for the job that I loved. And it ultimately came down to I had to take a job. Mm-hmm. And then that job has since evolved into something that I love. So, I don't know, I guess I'm kind of seeing it from a different perspective. I understand what you're saying. You have to go out and look for something that you love. But there's also the other side of the coin where I came to love what I'm doing.
Well, I'll also say this. How did your job description shift? Did it ever shift, or did it just stay the same and you learned to love it?
Well, like Lockwood said, I have an MBA, so I was looking for management, something to do with business, and I ended up taking a minimum wage job in a restaurant, and that has turned into restaurant management.
Now he's in restaurant management. He's actually in the management.
Yeah, well, that would be more in line with your flow, for sure. I've had a series of different careers, which I won't go into now, but all of them seemingly completely unrelated. And this goes to, I think, a deeper philosophical position here, is like, how is life guiding us? And what I've discovered in my own career choices was that I went from one career to another career to another career, and quite frankly, all of them actually ended up linking together, giving me some type of talent or opportunity that would prepare me for what I ultimately ended up doing for a lifetime career. So I would say that, yes, you're right, and yes, I'm right as well. I think both perspectives have tremendous value. I was a textile designer, then I was a landscape contractor, then I turned into a naval engineer, and then I became a seminar leader, and now I'm a corporate consultant on leadership and team cohesion. All of those different careers actually mounted a certain skill set within my own professional toolbox. And as I continued, I found that they all fit very neatly like a puzzle, and finally revealed exactly what I was most talented to do, which is what I'm currently doing. So yes, I think you're absolutely right. If life leads you to a certain place where you absolutely have to, out of necessity, take a certain job, in my perspective, in my philosophy, you have faith in that and you go for it, but you constantly keep in your mind's eye, in your goal, where it is you're going to ultimately land, and you strive for that. And you sound like a very intelligent, very career-driven young man. And so, of course, someone's going to see that talent, and they're going to promote that.
Well, the career-driven will accept. I don't know the other part that you said. But anyhow, we've got Brandon in here. And before I get Brandon on the comment on this, because I know that we've had conversations about career opportunities. In this environment where the jobs are morphing, what was, I mentioned the 10 worst jobs, one of them being reporters for a period of time. That was, everybody wanted to be a reporter, and now, gosh, there's a market that at the very best is in chaos. I say that at the very best. And Brandon, you were a J school student just like me.
Yeah, and I can Todd, I can relate a lot to what you're talking about, because while I was in school, I actually, one of the probably the only smart things that I did was I consciously took jobs when I was young that would give me different aspects of different things. I've worked in a restaurant, I've worked in retail, I've worked at the port one summer,
right.
Which was, I learned quick I didn't want to labor the rest of my life. I've dabbled in politics. Now I work in marketing. I worked at the newspaper. So I have this sort of like appreciation, not always the tangible benefit from finding out what you do love to do on the route that I took, is I found out a lot of things that I definitely didn't want to do. And what that gave me was, I feel like it gave me a strong work ethic and just really an appreciation for interacting with people. You get to see people that you interact with on a whole different level, and just sort of it helped me to appreciate when I finally landed a career. Where I was going, like Todd said.
Let me just make comment of this. You're working for, he's working for a company in our area, Transportation Impact, mm-hmm. which is a, remind me, Inc. 500. Inc. 500 company, a startup company, and he's doing the marketing for them. These are the kind of situations that avail themselves, that you suddenly take advantage of it.
Sure.
But it goes back to, and Mandy, feel free to jump in on this one, relative to the computer technology side. Here you are basically managing the books for a radio station. We will exclude what radio station you're working for, but anyhow, other than us, no. But you had plans to use your computer tech skills in a different way now?
Well, even at that, I wasn't entirely sure what I wanted to do with it. It was something I was interested in. I was pursuing it in school, and I'm still finding myself content in the radio job, and still using those skills that I learned at school in other capacities as well. So for me, it's a matter of, I'm enjoying where I am right now, and I don't really want to move from here right now.
Gary Rodriguez again, the organization PeopleRich, peoplerich.com. Gary, am I to understand from this that millennials then are just going to have to be more flexible? And is it different than, say, and I have a feeling you are probably just beyond Generation Y, 32, 33, thereabouts.
Well, I'm glad I sound younger than I actually am, young man.
But my question to you is this an indication that basically the millennials are just going to have to be a little bit more flexible for a longer period of time?
I think that's relatively accurate, but I would like to add this one thing, is that attitude is probably everything. Andrew Carnegie did a large study on why only 10% of the graduating classes of the top universities in the country actually were successful, and it all came down to that 10% had a different attitude. So regardless of really where we find ourselves in the job market, I had a company once which I had 100 employees for. I never hired on skill base. I always hired on attitude. So if I could always train the skill, but I cannot train the attitude. So
I agree with that.
That would be something that I would really support people looking at as far as their mindset, their own self-leadership, and how their attitude is about who they are and what they can contribute.
Interesting. Thank you very much, Gary. Appreciate your time this evening. Gary Rodriguez, CEO of PeopleRich.com. Thanks for your time this evening. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. It was my honor and pleasure. Thank
That's
you.
our pleasure. All right. The Y Factor here on the Talk Station FM 107 AM 1240.